So for all of you who get tired of hearing about animals and feedlots, cattle and feedlots, and how that's all that happens, and that the idea of blissed out cattle out in pasture is really a myth. I want you to see how blissed out these guys here are. They are particularly blissed out today because yesterday we turned them into our Silvopasture experiment. So they got out of some sun and they got into a place where they're not only eating, but they're scratching themselves on trees. Seriously, look at these guys. They're so totally blissed out. And for those of you who aren't aware of what silvopasture is, it's basically a Latin term. Silvo is wooded. It's a wooded pasture, and it's where I live in northern Wisconsin. It all used to be that way. Oak savanna, 55 million acres of it. A combination of trees spread out further than you see here, and grass and forage underneath. What kept it that way was that fires would sweep through, giant herds of buffalo and elk would sweep through, and they kept the canopy in the forest open. Sunlight hit the ground, there was forage, and all the wooded areas that you see in the United States anymore are not in a natural state. So what we're trying to do here is recreate oak savanna with the trees that we have left on our property here. You can see here that we're not done with this. We've just started opening it up. It's a great place to start because it's underneath power lines, which are opened up anyway, and we're expanding from there. You can see we've been taking trees down, limbing trees. It's a little harder to get understory out, so we've been mechanically removing it, and that does take some time, but you can see there's piles of understory here. Eventually we'll get this thing pushed back into a more natural state. For contrast, you look across the driveway here, and this is what most wooded areas look like in the United States today. You can't even see through here. And another reason why that is when they were building the big cities and harvesting the trees to do it with, they clear-cut trees, opened up the canopy. Sunlight was able to hit all the tree seeds and everything else on the ground, and it all sprouted up, and the trees are all way too close together. So you have something like this, which is not its natural state. There's nothing natural about this if you take a look. So silvopasture, if you've got a wooded area on your farm, you want to get in there. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do it gradually. We've been working on this here for maybe 3 years now. And it's a matter of trying to get the canopy down to 40%, 40 to 60% canopy. That's how much you want to leave. In this area here, this was just a wood lot that, as you know, with harvesting lumber, you take the best and leave the rest, and it turns into a mess. So there's a lot of white pine in here. We're actually trying to remove some of the white pine and select for oaks. There's a lot of oak in here, and that's really what I want to get going. Here's a real nice stand of oak right here, and that's what's kind of put seeds all over this. It's about a 3-acre area. There's 2 ways to do silvopasture. Here's a little tutorial on it. One is to take a wooded area and to do what we're doing here, to thin it out, open up the canopy, start planting forage, and getting a nice combination of the two going on. The other way to do silvopasture, and we've had the University of Wisconsin and the University of Minnesota do a joint workshop out here on silvopasture because they saw it as being one of the best areas around where this was going on. And the nice thing is both kinds of silvopasture are happening right across my brother Jimmy's driveway. So this is where they spend a lot of time out here. This is a pasture that we're planting trees into. This used to just be completely, opened up as a hayfield. And now what we're doing is managed intensive grazing using steers. Got 8 of them right now, and chickens going through. And as we know, the combination of ruminant animals and birds has been going on as long as time has been going on, where the ruminants do the pruning, they poop and pee and leave, the birds come through, scratch through the cow pies, get their larvae, and it's just a lovely situation for everybody. So here you can see where we put in a swale to capture runoff, and along the swale we started planting hazelnuts and oaks. And if you look through here, again, we just found out about this 3-4 years ago, so the big trees and things are still not really visible. This is going to be a completely different sort of environment, in another 20 years, where you're going to see this swale is going to be like a hazelnut hedge that you're not going to be able to walk through. And then along these fences down here where the paddocks are, is going to be oak trees spread across the whole landscape. So silvopasture, it's the best use of land that is not tillable, that is the topography is wrong, it's too hilly, and you want to have a combination of trees and forage if you have the right land to do it, because it's the best of both worlds. It gives you tree crops, it gives you forage, it creates an ideal environment for especially ruminant animals, cattle. But you can also run pigs through silvopasture. They love nuts on the ground, acorns. That's another thing we do here. We have some pigs in another area that we rotate, and then we let them into the woods, into the oaks in the fall, and they get to gorge on acorns. So, all of this, what falls under permaculture, falls under regenerative agriculture. And, what can I say? These guys are just, not standing knee deep in mud and poop at a feedlot. And before these guys are considered beef, they are considered soil engineers. That's what they're doing out here right now. That's really their primary importance. As I like to say, the most important animals on every farm are the animals that are 3 feet under our feet. They form the earth's skin. They have to be regenerated because there's just simply not enough of them around anymore. those little microorganisms and mycorrhiza and all the things that create fertility and create a porous soilscape so that water can infiltrate. All of those things that were taken away with tillage agriculture and needs to be happening again. Those of you who do these practices get it. That's why you're doing it and why you're as excited about these, like this nothing video with just blissed out steers just hanging out. You can barely see them back there. That understory all has to go, and it will eventually. It'll be opened up. It'll look more like a park with scattered trees and forage underneath. But you can do this. You should do this if you've got areas on your farm like this. Again, don't feel you have to do it all at once, because I know you're all busy farming. But there's times of the year when we can get back in there with a chainsaw and a brush cutter, and we're trying to open it up and put it back into its natural state, which again, when civilization got in the way and stopped ruminant herds of animals from just migrating around doing what they do, and they stopped fires, and then they took all the big trees for their cities, they completely destroyed natural landscapes. So it went from kind of this to this, which is just a tangled, jumbled mess. Yeah, it's work to clean this up, but in the end, it's worth it. Provides a better environment for wildlife as well as domesticated animals. So that's what I've got this morning here. You should have seen them when they got in here yesterday. I mean, they were like Ferdinand the Bull, just kicking up their heels, running, skipping, you know, bumping into each other. I wish I would have had the camera out here yesterday, but this is good too. So hope you enjoy this little tutorial reflection on the value of silvopasture, and have a nice day. This is northern Wisconsin, but this can happen anywhere. That's it. Have a good day. I know I'm going to.